Hey, what's up guys? I'm Ryan from American Trucks, and today I'm here with the Barricade Extreme HD front bumper with winch mount fitting your 2015 to 2017 F150 excluding the Raptor models. This is going to be for the F150 owner that is looking to change up the appearance of their truck and wants the protection of a heavy-duty full-width front bumper with some additional LED lighting. This bumper will provide plenty of strength and protection for the front end, making it perfect for street and trail use. This bumper is going to offer some additional clearance in front of those wheels, allowing for better approach angles, which is really going to come in handy on those tough trails. The high-powered additional LED lighting is going to make a huge difference in low light visibility, allowing you to be seen and see. It is designed to be a direct bolt-on and swaps out easily with the factory bumper, so there's no drilling or modification required. And this whole thing comes as a complete kit with everything needed to install. You just need to wire up those lights, which is all pretty straightforward. This is reasonably priced on the site as far as these winch bumpers with LED lighting go, and at just around $900. I think this is a great deal considering the construction, quality, and fitment that you're getting with this particular item. As far as install goes, I am going to give this 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, as you can install this in about 2 hours using basic hand tools. Now with that being said, let's hop into the install. Tools required for this install: 3/8 drive impact, 3/8 drive ratchet, 1/4 inch ratchet, socket extension, an 11mm socket, 10mm socket, 8mm socket, 21mm socket, 18mm socket, trim panel removal tool, 18mm wrench, 14mm wrench. So to start, we'll need to remove our factory bumper, which is a relatively easy uninstall. There's about 6 nuts total that are holding this on, and we need to unplug our factory fog lights. So we're going to go underneath the truck and start with the 2 on the backside. So on the outside of your frame rail, on the backside, on both frame rails, you're going to have a nut and a stud. You're going to use a 21mm socket to remove that nut. And you do the same thing on the other side. We're going to disconnect both of our fog lights. You're going to pull back on these black tabs and then just unplug that. You also want to free this harness up for the bumper anywhere that it's attached to it. We're going to unplug the other side, and then we can remove the nuts from the front side of the bumper. So the next thing we have to do is remove this black plastic cover. Now you can do that with a trim panel removal tool, or you can just pry on this thing out. It's just held in with metal clips. So we're going to go along and free this, get this panel off. Once you get that cover off, you're going to have 2 nuts on both sides. You're going to use a 21mm socket to get those out. And before we get the last nut off, we're going to make sure that we have a hand on the bumper as it's ready to come off. Once you get all that hardware off, we can pull the bumper off. So since we have to install this large winch plate, if you have an EcoBoost model, you'll need to remove this plastic air dam deflector for your inner core. This is relatively easy to do as there is 4 bolts. You're going to have 2 bolts in the top and 2 bolts in the bottom, and then there's an electrical connector that you'll need to unplug. We're going to use an 8mm socket to remove those bolts. Once you get all that hardware out, we're going to pull this out just a little bit so we can get to these electrical connectors. You're going to have a little black tab in here. You're going to pull that black tab, and then that'll disconnect it. So since we won't be reusing our factory fog lights, we're actually going to unplug this section from over here. And we're going to pull this all the way over here, coil that up, and just zip tie it out of the way. So there's a little tab on the end of this plug. You're just going to press that in, and then you can unplug that, and all of this is just going to come over here. And we'll coil all that up and secure it. So the next step, we're going to install our winch plate. We're actually going to use these factory studs that are sticking out. We're going to attach it using the factory nuts that we removed. This is pretty heavy, so I would recommend grabbing a friend to help you pick this up. So you're gonna have a single bolt on both sides. These are gonna be held in with a plastic washer. We need to remove these out of the factory bumper. They come out pretty easily. You can just push down on them or hit them with a hammer, and then you just need to pull that out from the backside. We're gonna use those actually to attach that winch plate. So we're gonna take that bolt that we removed from our factory bumper, we're gonna insert that through the back side of our frame rail, and then install that factory nut on there. Then you do the same thing for the other side. So once you get all of your hardware in, you're ready to tighten everything up. Now the plate is slotted side to side and your frame rail is slotted up and down. So you want to center it the best that you can, and then we're going to tighten everything up with a 21mm. So if you are planning to run a winch, now is the time to install that, since once you get the bumper on, you're not really gonna have any room to do that. You're gonna mount your winch in here, and there's even a spot to mount your control box. For this particular video, we are not mounting a winch up, so we're just gonna get on to the assembly of the bumper and putting those lights in. So with our bumper on the table, we're just about ready to install our lights. We do need to assemble them, so we're gonna install these brackets. Now this bracket is going to have a taper to it, and we're gonna face that facing backwards. You're just gonna slide it into these fins here, then we'll drop these nuts down in there and get these Allen head bolts in. So we're gonna slide our bracket in facing backwards. Then you'll need to drop nuts down in these little slots and make sure that they sit in here because we need to pass a bolt through. So then you'll line all these holes up, install this bolt through, and then we're gonna catch the threads on that nut. Then we're going to take the Allen key that they give us, and we're just going to go and tighten these up. We'll do the same thing to the other one, and then we'll get these installed on the bumper. After that, you're gonna use the supplied bolt. We're gonna stick it up through this bracket, and we're gonna go inside of this honeycomb section, pop that bolt up through, and it'll get a lock washer and a nut. So you're gonna take your harness, and you're actually gonna feed it up through this hole. So they have a little hole cut out in the top of the honeycomb, and we're gonna go ahead and stick that plug through there, pull that the rest of the way through. Then you can push that bolt through and install that hardware. So lock washer, and then the supplied nut. So just position your light where you'd like and then tighten it up with a 14mm. Gonna do the same thing for the other side. So before we get this bumper installed, I just want to take a moment to tell you a little bit about what this is made of, what it's going to do for your truck, and how it compares to the stock one. Now the stock one is made of steel, and aesthetically it's very pleasing. I think that it's a pretty good looking bumper. But if you're looking for something that's a little more aggressive, a little stronger, and a little more functional, you want to check out an aftermarket option such as this Barricade Bumper. This Barricade Bumper is made from heavy-duty steel plating, and it's a full-width bumper just like your stock bumper, so it's going to be a lot stronger. It's still going to give you that full front-end protection. This bumper comes with a winch plate, and this winch plate bolts directly to your frame, so there's no drilling or modification required to install that, and it's going to allow you to run a variety of winches up to 12,000 pounds. This winch is going to be concealed neatly under your bumper and staying safe and out of the way. One thing I would like to point out, and something that you should be mindful of, is if you have an EcoBoost model, mounting this winch plate and the winch there is going to block a little bit of airflow, so just keep that in mind if you're going with this purchase. This bumper is a lot more aggressive looking than your stock one, and this black powder coating is definitely going to add to that aggressive look, but it's also going to protect it from the elements, and it's going to keep your investment protected and safe. This bumper features D-ring mounts, which on top of that winch is going to be another great recovery point, whether you are pulling someone out or you're getting pulled out. Now with the stock bumper removal, we are getting rid of those factory fog lights. However, this bumper is going to come with two 3-inch LED lights. These LED lights use high-powered Cree LEDs that produce an intense bright white light that is 6,000 K. So they're going to be much brighter than your stock lights, and they're really going to come in handy whether you're driving down back roads or if you're using your winch pulling someone out and you need some additional lighting to light up that night. Now these lights are sealed in a durable aluminum housing. This housing is powder coated black for, again, corrosion resistance, and it has a polycarbonate lens. This is going to protect them from any debris that they may encounter and keeping them safe. This is all sealed up with an IP rating of 67. It's going to allow you to submerge those lights for short amounts of time without really doing any internal damage. Another nice thing about this bumper is if you live in a state where it requires a front-mounted license plate, Barricade actually provides you with a bracket to mount your plate on there. Now these lights are plug and play and they come with their own harness, so with that all being said, let's show you how this gets installed, wired up, and what it looks like on the truck. At this point in time, you're ready to install your bumper. Now it is pretty awkward and heavy, so I would recommend grabbing a friend and getting that hardware ready so we can secure it as soon as we get it on. So we're gonna bolt our bumper to our winch plate. You're gonna have two holes, one above the other. We're gonna install this bolt plate. This bolt plate is gonna go inside of the bumper and poke through, then we're gonna raise it up and get it through our winch plate. Once you get it through, each stud is gonna get a flat washer, a lock washer, and a nut. Now on the other side of this plate, you're gonna have another hole. We're gonna use a bolt with a washer on it. We're gonna go through the bumper into the winch plate. We'll use another washer, a lock washer, and a nut. So the third hole in this bracket, we're gonna install a bolt with a flat washer. It's gonna go through the bumper into our winch plate. Then on the back side, it's gonna get a flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. After that, we can do the same thing for the other side. So once you get all that hardware in, you want to center and adjust the bumper where you want it, and then we can tighten everything up using a series of 18 millimeters. So for this little guy in here, I'm going to use an 18mm wrench and an 18mm socket. All right, so the next thing we have to do is wire up our lights. Like I said, we get a harness with this kit, and this is all relatively plug and play. We're gonna start under our hood by the battery, and we're gonna lay our switch over the engine bay, and then the next thing we're going to do is drop our harness down. So we're gonna find a good spot, which we're gonna go right down past this battery, past the frame rail, and then we'll plug them into our lights. You gotta make sure that you keep these away from any hot and moving parts, just so you do not damage them. All right, let's go into the bumper and plug them in. So now we have our switch over on the driver's side of our Jeep, and we're gonna pass this through the firewall. There's actually a very nice large plug down there, and you can poke a hole through that and then pass the switch to the inside. So we're gonna do that right now. Now we'll go on the inside and pull that switch all the way through. So the next thing you're gonna do is reach up on the driver's side of this floor. You're gonna pull that switch all the way out. Now this has an adhesive backing on it, so you can just route this away from all these pedals and stick it on the dash wherever you'd like. So we're gonna start with our positive side, and we're gonna use an 11mm socket to remove this nut. Now you don't wanna do this nut over here. This is actually what keeps this tight on the terminal. We wanna do this one here. So we're gonna take that nut off, install the terminal underneath, and then we'll just reinstall that nut and tighten it back up. Then we'll do the same thing for the negative side. So for the negative side, we're gonna use a 10mm socket, and we're gonna remove this nut here. Same thing as we did on the other side. We're just gonna install that terminal, reinstall that factory nut, and then we'll tighten it up. So we're just gonna plug our one fog light in, and then we're gonna pass the other harness to the other side and plug the other one in. Same thing on the other side, plug that in, and then you wanna take all this wiring, make sure that you zip tie it up and out of the way from any hot and moving parts. So that's gonna wrap up my review and install. For more videos like this, check us out at AmericanTrucks.com.